What's up, Skip? Hey, fuck off! Fuck off! Go away! Fucking kangaroos.
Hello and welcome to Pulse Chain Community Stream. Hod Pro, hello. I didn't get to say hi to you in the green
got
room.
in right in the right time.
Oh, you totally smashed that. You just the timing was like perfecto there. Fast Abdul, how you doing? Oh, mute.
We
can't hear you.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, no, I'm good. Staying off the hard drugs and out of jail.
Well done. Crypto Stylist, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Oh, very good. Sammy Chica, good to see your face.
Bad. I'm back and I'm bad.
Back, baby. She's back. Thanks for being here. Brizology. What is up?
I am doing wonderful. I can't wait for this market to fully pop off.
Oh, we are on the verge, people, of our God candle that we have been.
How are you, Claz?
Me, I am going great. I don't sleep much, but you know what Arnold Schwarzenegger, he taught me this, and he said sleep faster. Because I went to this conference, and somebody was like, "Oh, how have you achieved all these things?" And he's like, "Sleep faster." Like, obviously. No, I'm good though. I'm good. Thanks for asking. In the chat, Shooby Doo, Shaggy Doo, you're first. 3M63R, you are second. I was third, and I'm going to claim that. Hexforce 1, hello. Kryptonite, Tantan, thanks for being here, guys. Guys, we got an Angry Salad Man. Don't let me forget you. Hello. We got a great show. We're just going to wing it like we always do. And we might start off with POCUS, President Trump. Trump has been a force for good for crypto. The one big, beautiful bill, I don't know if you guys have heard of this one. You guys are getting in America a lot of tax breaks coming up, which is pretty sweet. Did you guys hear about this?
Not I.
Proposed.
About
Are they
what?
coming or they just proposed?
It's proposed, but I think it's gonna pass. Well, hopefully. So no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. There's like a myriad of things that's basically going to increase the M2 money supply, and hopefully, retail will buy come and
No
buy
tax on Social Security. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that last one, Crypto Stars?
No tax on Social Security. So when you get your Social
Wow.
Security payments, you normally get taxed, but they won't be taxed, which would be a huge help for the older generation, for the boomers.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think there's a
No tax
childcare.
on Corvettes.
Oh, American-made cars. I think the interest payments are going to be less. Childcare subsidies. I think there's some kind of tax incentives going through there. So that's really cool. So I wanted to firstly point out like how good Donald Trump has been for crypto and publicly talking about crypto, bringing out his own meme coins. Like we couldn't have asked for like a better president-elect when it comes to supporting crypto. And obviously,
Plus,
I'm Australian.
Trump just had a dinner. He just had a dinner for the top purchasers of the Trump token. And the
Oh, did
people at
he?
the dinner, yeah, the money that was spent on his coin at his dinner, the aggregate of all the people, if you add up all the people who were there, was just about $400 million. Like some big,
Wow.
yeah.
Amazing.
And
What about the
didn't he
Melania token? Are they having a tea as well?
just-
Get
Yeah,
invited to the
that's
Christmas party.
not so much a bigger party there. Maybe like a high tea with like a single harp player. And
Right on.
didn't do as well. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say, you know, how I've been really impressed with Trump and how he's really pushed legislation for crypto forward and the culture and legitimacy of crypto forward. And obviously I'm Australian, but Australia, everybody, you know, the US dollar is the reserve currency, right? So we follow America in a lot of ways
I
financially.
hope it's a new state soon. Just Australia. Maybe after Greenland.
Yeah, that's
Join
it.
the
Just
union.
like tax-free crypto. We're just gonna like jump ahead of you guys. You guys think we're like all backwards, and then we just go tax-free crypto and become like a crypto.
We are backwards compared to them.
You're upside down.
Donald Trump, he's been amazing. And he's also brave and he's addressing issues that other world leaders won't address. So I think he's amazing and he's doing great stuff with crypto too.
Absolutely. I'm not saying I love every single thing that he does or agree with all of
did
his
so.
policies, but crypto, he's been good for crypto. So I wanted to say those nice things before I talk about the Genius Stablecoin Act, which probably has a more fancy, you know, formal name. And basically, it's about legislation to do with stablecoins in crypto. And unfortunately, it's been presented online as a good thing because everything that Trump does in crypto is good. When actually, for decentralization, it's not really that positive. So I just want to run through a few of the elements there, and then we'll throw back to you guys and see what you think. But according to what they propose, and there is strong bipartisan support for it, you won't be able to get yield on your stable coins. You won't be able to issue the stable coins unless you're, you know, like you're a regulated entity, like the FDIC or other regulated entities. So it just defines a stable coin as an asset on a public ledger. So that to me would exclude self-custody wallets. And essentially what it does is it puts a monopoly on the stable coin so that the bank is obviously leveraging people's money that come into stable coins and financially, you know, profiting. And so they've got a piece of the pie when it comes to crypto through the Stablecoin Act and pretty much excludes decentralization innovation when it comes to decentralized stablecoins. And the reason why we got into crypto was the exact opposite of that. So
I think you're off on a couple of those points. It's you know, like when we look at things like yield on stable coins, right? There's like in reference to how it's written in that document, it's like you hold this stable coin and it gives you yield. It doesn't mean you can't make yield on your stable coin somewhere else, right? So even with something like a liquidity fork, there's no yield on having that stable coin. There's yield on staking that stable coin. There's yield on LP providing for that stable coin. So it's not as limiting as it sounds.
I was actually going to say this. I'm sorry. I was going to say the same thing. It sounds like it's actually kind of a good thing because if someone says we can give you yield on stable coins, it's like, well, how do you make that yield? Where do the new stable coins come from? And most of the time, it just ends up being a Ponzi scheme where the new guys pay the old guys, right?
Like algorithmic stable coins are what they're attacking, I think, right? Like we're talking like Luna, that kind of stuff, where it's not sustainable, no collateral.
I think it might change up the way that perhaps the pools on PulseX would be arranged because say you've got a few stable coins at the end game, which at the end of the day, we all have to put our crypto back into dirty fiat so we can actually use it. And if they're only accepting, say, certain stable coins like USDC, then yeah, it probably would make sense that the farms on PulseX and the way that the farms are arranged and liquidity pools are arranged. Because at the moment in Pulse Chain, in order to exit, like the money that you exit on is ETH and it's DAI. Those are the two things that we actually exit on. So when you look at liquidity, say for a trooper, and you see millions and millions of dollars, there's not millions of dollars there, right? Because at the end of the day, it funnels through those two assets. And so if at the bank end, they're only approving, say, USDC as the stablecoin, that's going to completely change the game when it comes to how the pools are arranged in a DEX.
I don't think that would at all. Because like the only transaction that matters there, if like let's say your country, like your off ramp will only accept USDC, that's just one transaction along the way. You could deal in USDT and DAI or whatever you want, and then like there's stable coins that you can swap for other stable coins. If you have $10,000 in USDC and you want $10,000 in DAI, like you're not going to pay very much slippage. It's I don't like the makeup of the farms would be unlikely to change. Like if they're against DAI and Richard likes DAI, we're gonna have DAI farms. Like, and as far as the legislation goes, it's not illegal to have a farm like DAI to PulseX. Like there's nothing illegal about that, right? It's not the stablecoin that's paying you yield; it's a DEX that's paying you yield.
The yield is paid in a crypto coin.
What about a wrapped stablecoin?
That's cool.
Right? I mean, just throwing the technical jargon out there, thinking about certain things, and of course, stability pool implications of the stablecoin yield, right?
But same thing with the stability pool, right? Like it's not the stablecoin that's paying you; it's the protocol that's paying you to put up your stablecoin as collateral. Right?
So this is when the definitions of these things come in, and we can't just take it for granted that.
Yeah, all liquidity folks are good. You don't liquid loans is fine. Earn, Flex, Ink Printer are fine.
Yeah,
they're basically like they're not algorithmic stable coins that pay you some sort of Ponzi yield.
Oh, definitely in the short term, I don't think there's going to be absolutely any impact. And the amount of money we already have within crypto to swap and change, even bridging out to different chains and so on and so forth. But looking at the bigger picture, I mean, who knows? Maybe it might be a force for good if that means that retail can find an entry in, and we can. Because if you look at total liquidity, like crypto, like generally speaking, versus stocks, we're small fraction. I don't know what that fraction is, but what is it, like 3 trillion in crypto, something like that? And in stock market, it must be like an order of magnitude, like I don't know, an order of magnitude on that. So perhaps in the long term, I don't know, maybe it would be good if it flows back the other way.
Perhaps. I think this is all leading up to CBDCs, right? Like, government starts putting out stablecoin legislation. Eventually, they'll want to control them. But, like, what are you going to pair your CBDCs against? Well, you're going to pair them against less centralized stablecoins. Because the best way to make money on stablecoins is having them flow between one stablecoin or another. That's the lowest risk game in crypto, is to just have stable coins paired against stable coins, right?
Absolutely. I see the video that we've got here from Fast Abdul. So let's play this.
And there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is. All our analysis.
Real quick, Klaus.
Yeah.
That actually wasn't the part I was trying to show you.
As of May 23rd, approximately 3.26% of the global stock market is in cryptocurrency based on an estimated crypto market cap of $3.95 trillion.
Hey, there we go. So So did it say on do you mind to look up like how much is in, so if we've got 3.5 trillion, how much is in stocks? Is it like tens more or hundreds more?
Oh, geez.
Sorry, Fast Abdul. Let me have a look in here. Let me just share this again and we'll see which part that I should have shared.
So do you guys think that one day when we go in, just say we go to a department store and we're going to pay for whatever we purchased, and then you got the option of cash, credit card, Afterpay, which is like a borrow scheme, PayPal, then there'll be crypto? I think there will. I think we'll get to that point at some point.
I remember Solana tried something like that with the brick and mortar in some of these malls. It was a little too early on their end.
Is this the right one, Fast Abdul? Have I opened up the right one?
Yeah, just the statement by Jesse. So he's responding to people's concerns about the stable coins, right? And he basically outlines that the liquidity forks were unaffected.
Oh, good stuff. So just ask Jesse. First, it's worth noting that no yield is offered, nor given to any holders of the stablecoin. The stability pool functions as a buy pool to purchase low collateralized debt. And again, merely holding the stable does nothing regarding yield. What the government is worried about regarding yields on centralized stables is that issuing companies are gambling with your dollars to earn you a yield. Secondly, stable coins are defined a very specific way with central entities holding a treasury. The community is welcome to call PXDC, HexDC, USDL, or INCD, whatever they like. While they do have a redemption feature that encourages people to buy the value back close to $1, that doesn't mean there's a treasury, nor that they have to be called stablecoins. They remain unaffected by any regulation. Similar to Hex, there's no central entity, and anyone can run a front end, and it's merely code. There we go. Very nice.
Which, by the way, is what they do with our dollars.
Definitely. All right, team. So while we've got talking about stablecoins, Fast Abdul, do you want to give us an update on the ink printer?
Sure. Yeah, no, ink printer's doing great. We just launched our first part of our upgrade, which is a liquid staking contract for the print token. So you can put your print token in there. It's staked inside the protocol. You get a receipt, an S print token, standing for staked print. And then there's zero and permanent loss farming you can do with that. That's currently paying around 200% APR, which is better than it pays to stake inside the protocol. So people are financially encouraged to do that. And then the single-sided staking for the stablecoin in the stability pool is paying close to 50% right now. So you can literally single-sided stake a stablecoin and make close to 50% APR at the moment. So I'd say it's going well.
Yeah, and you got quite a bit in your contract. Like people are using it, which is really lovely.
There's about 6% of all ink is locked in the contract. It's about $5 million worth of ink right now. About 3 million actual ink in the contract.
Do you want to put the what's the best way? A website would be the best way for people, or for them to look at your Twitter handle, or what's the best way for them to find out?
Probably to join the Telegram room. It has the most detailed information. It's t.me. Let me double check. t.me/ink printer chat.
Sweet. Thanks for that.
Inkprinter.com is good too.
Nice one. Does anyone want to talk to Fast about the ink printer while I just have a look through chat? No.
So same thing.
I don't want to grill you. I don't want to grill you, Fast Abdul.
So when are we going up? More of the point. When are we going up? Kryptonite in the chat. Kryptonite has just said we're so close he can smell it, and I tend to agree. I asked Grok, and she reckons around about mid-year we're going to see a big difference.
Mm-hmm. So when Federal Reserve going to reduce interest rates, and there's a website that you go to, and I always forget the thing. I think it's does anyone know off the top of their head? We can check the probability of when they'll reduce interest rates. Is it June or July? It sounds more like if it was up to the Federal Reserve, it probably would be July that they're going to start quantitative easing or actually reducing the interest rates. So that the money printer can go burr more than it already is. So the money printer has started to go burr, and by that I mean the government has sold some debt to the Federal Reserve in the form of treasury bonds. And so billions of dollars of printing has already occurred through that process whereby people exchange monopoly money between themselves and basically sell debt and increase inflation. So I think, and also, didn't Trump just bring out another potential act whereby he can fire Jerome Powell, which is what I think he wants to do for not already reducing interest rates?
I heard that. Sounds
Yeah, I
super
saw that on What the Guru.
Yeah, so that's really interesting because I think it's already scheduled to start reducing in July. But I mean, according to our bags, it has been a little late. No, it's not as if the cycle's not going to happen. It will all happen like it always does. But you know, if Trump had his way, I think by May we would have already started cutting interest rates. And the way that affects the economy is massive. Like, there's a flow-on effect throughout the whole world because the Federal Reserve won't reduce interest rates when they probably should have. And because they don't like Trump, it's almost like they're delaying it even further just to prove a point and saying that the tariffs aren't affecting the economy and so on. Because Trump pulled some moves like with these tariffs, right? And did these Cold War tariff little mini fights. And at the end result, there's like free world trade without tariffs, which we all knew was going to happen. But I mean, that's when I think...
I heard he just put a 50% tariff on Europe.
He said he said he could put a 50% tariff on Europe. It's like, or that they would, or that they might. You know, it's all the same as before. Yeah. So it's
all teasing. He teases a lot. I guess it's good business practice.
I think Rector Riches in chat says it best: Trump and dump.
Trump and dump. Please explain.
Donald Trump. Well, interest rates just went down here in Australia this week, 25 basis points, which is really good for all the people. Look, I know people had to sell their houses during this last rise, which really sucks ass. And now they're going down. I think potentially they reckon possibly another 3 for us this year, Class. That's what I've heard, but who knows what they'll do, right?
Sammy, like, it would be such a godsend. Like, they did 13 interest rate hikes within a very short period in the last, say, 2 years. And that devastated homeowners like across Australia. And it led to a situation where people can't afford their rent. And you go to and so the rents are ridiculously high for piece of crap houses. So people can't even get into the rental market. And young people have no hope of getting a house. And that's a little bit sad because the game has completely changed, right? So when you speak to, your parents or older people, I find there's a huge disconnect between people that are into crypto and boomers because the way they made their money and the way that we can make our money are completely different. And when they were growing up, the way that the interest rates were compared to their income and the way inflation was, housing was affordable. Like, women didn't work and most people owned a house. Well, that situation has completely changed because of inflation. And even the education system doesn't teach kids about inflation. They teach kids that you need to put your money in your little bank account, starting from when you're young and you start putting your money in a bank account. Well, that's the completely wrong. If they understood inflation, they wouldn't. That's not an investment, right? Because you're fighting against this 11% a year inflation costs. So, and then for the government to increase interest rates in Australia 13 times in 2 years, they really targeted mums and dads. That's not fair. It's that middle income people are paying for the economy on top of all the other taxes.
Well, look how ruthless they are, Claz, with the super tax for over $3 million in super. And, it's just showing that what if they don't stop there? What if they do hit the middle class and the low income earners? Like, we're all screwed. They're just tax-hungry thieves, really.
We're in like this debt cycle where, money printing needs to happen. More and more taxes need to happen so that the economy doesn't collapse. We've been in a recession for years, but the media doesn't tell people, so they don't know. But we do know that our young people can't get jobs. We do know that people can't afford rent. So people understand somewhat there's something going on.
One good thing about it is people don't trust the media anymore. When it's telling everybody that the economy's roaring, even during COVID, it's absolute nonsense. So it was kind of the initial push for people to even think about things like DeFi of thought, DeFi of finance, DeFi, because the centralization, it's lying to us and it's not working for us. It's working for an oligarchy, right? In the hands of the few. You know,
people are understanding. I think they're slowly waking up.
Sure.
Like even when it comes to,
yeah.
you know, Biden, and people realize that perhaps his health was in a different state to what was being presented.
Oh yeah.
And I think that in somewhat wakes people up a little bit. Actually, I mean, it's hard being in crypto because like your friends and family are probably on a completely, at least for me, on a completely different wavelength when it comes to understanding finances and attitude towards finances and how the world works and where the opportunities are. So that can lead to a lot of disconnect. We're lucky in Hexico. You know, Hexicans are a very strong community. We are the actual DeFi cult. So the thumbnail says, you know, something like we're a true DeFi cult. And what that means is that we self-custody our crypto. So we have our own wallets. We don't keep it in a centralized exchange. And we're permissionless. So we don't have to go into the bank and beg for our own money. And we can just send money and interact with our crypto how we like. So I think the way that we think in crypto and the way that we think about decentralization is very new for a lot of people. It is a bit challenging to get into, but there are reasons why we do it. So we might talk about the SUI hack, and we might talk about different centralized exchanges that have probably gone down. So do you guys want to comment on this SUI hack? We might go into that.
I heard they started buying up Ethereum.
Yeah, they did.
And that's probably why Ethereum pumped up so much.
Peppy pumped yesterday. Probably then.
Good. That was good.
$200 million was drained, right? $200 million. That's a lot of money.
Really? That's a lot of dough.
260 million.
Oh, it's 260.
But yeah, so it's even more. It's still terrible.
It's actually
the SUI is centralized, and they actually cut off their transactions or something, or they paused the network, right?
They did. There's an interesting. I bookmarked this interesting post to go into a bit of the nuance. I can hear myself echoing, so maybe it's because I got a YouTube tab open. I'll just share with you a bookmark here.
It's kind of sketchy that they can pause the network because, like, obviously, like when somebody steals money, it's good, but if you're trying to get off and they pause it because it's just your money, then it's bad. It's almost like a centralized exchange.
Yeah, if they try to stop people from doing a bank run and totally collapsing the chain, and they just cut you off from your money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's not good. That's
apparently
not good at all.
USDC briefly lost its dollar peg due to
really?
Yeah, the liquidity drain, which is
on
insane.
Just on
Not
SUI
much,
or
just, I think so. Yeah, on that ecosystem.
So this is the announcement from Cetus Protocol. This is a DeFi protocol that got hacked. As of earlier, this was made on May the 22nd. As of earlier today, we've confirmed that an attacker has stolen approximately 223 million from Cetus Protocol.
Oh, okay.
We have took immediate action to lock our contract, preventing further theft of funds. 162 million of the compromised funds have been successfully paused. We are working with the SUI Foundation and other ecosystem members right now on step solutions with the goal of recovering the remaining stolen funds. Majority of impacted funds are paused, and we're actively pursuing paths to recover the remainder. We have no higher priority and will provide further updates as soon as they become available. A full incident report would be discussed later. So, I mean, a lot of chains are saying they're decentralized, but they managed to just stop their chain. This is a nuanced sort of tweet from Cassie.sui, which I thought was kind of interesting. So crypto is a lie. We were promised pure decentralization, unstoppable code, and trustless systems. Turns out most major chains have hit the brakes when things went south. Ethereum hard forked in 2016 to reverse the DAO hack. 60 million was on the line. Solana was paused its network multiple times, February 23, September 22, to contain certain bugs and exploits. BTC rolled back in 2010, a bug that created 184 billion BTC, yes, billion. But when SUI uses safeguards to freeze stolen funds, centralized fraud, it's called protecting users. If your idea of decentralization is to let the hackers keep the money, you're fighting for anarchy, not adoption. What do you guys reckon about, I mean, we say decentralization is great, but pure decentralization, like Pulse Chain, wouldn't have been able to, you can't fight against the contract. The contract is the contract.
Well, all those
Users
PDI
unaffected.
guys. Sorry, Riz.
Go ahead.
All the PDI guys wanted the chain to get rolled back for that big exploit. You see them all asking for them to roll back the chain.
To roll back the
That
chain
was,
so they can recover their $50,000-$60,000 they lost, like in total. Like there wasn't enough liquidity there to.
Now that it's resolved, it's great. But at the time, when it may not have been resolved, it was a little scary. People were like, "Oh, if there's an exploit that can drain a chain, that I think that may have been a legitimate option." So I think it's a bit of a. I think in everything in life there is a massive grey area, right? So you can't say this is the right way to do things and this is the wrong way to do things because there's always exceptions. Briz.
What happens if they pause the chain and then the guy dies?
Oh, yeah.
Or what if, what if like a government assassin?
How long is this pause?
Indefinite pause. Yeah.
What if a government assassin
like
comes up
2
and
minutes.
says, "Hey, you
And it's
better
just a
pause
feint.
this chain"?
You know
Yeah,
what's
no, I think it's
interesting
more
though
negative than good, for sure.
about
Like,
the
if they can
hack is
pause the
that
chain, do anything.
I think it's interesting that Sui's price only dropped 14%, whereas other coins on the protocol dropped like 75 to 95%. So I'm just wondering if there was any way that they were able to meddle to kind of protect the price, because I just can't believe that it only fell 14% after that hack.
Yeah.
Maybe they're able to pause the liquidity too. Like maybe you couldn't sell Sui for that period of time.
Oh, they
Do we
paused
know
transactions.
which coins got stolen?
That would do it.
Was it Sui coins or just coins on Sui?
No, the whole DEX. I've seen a tweet and it's a tweet of that DEX. Everything was down like 70 to 90% from that
But
hack.
not Sui. 14.
Yeah. How did that happen? Oh,
Well, if
unless
the guy
people were
sold other
buying them
coins, he probably sold them into Sui because that'd be the more liquid thing. It'd be like selling into Pulse.
He was selling into
ETH. But then Sui and then ETH though, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. Okay.
It's interesting how it all plays out though, right?
What was that? Is that Raoul Pol dude in crypto? He was like 70%.
He's 70% in Sui, but his okay because Sui's price was fine. It's like bounced back.
Holy cow!
I got some clips of that guy.
What happened with the FTX people getting paid back all those billions of dollars? Is that the end of this month, May 30th? I think it is, isn't it?
I saw a tweet about that. I'm trying to remember who made the tweet.
What's the date today?
It is the 23rd. Well,
the 24th of
24th, and well, some places.
Yeah, it's never a dull day in crypto, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's always something going on. I got some Richard Hart clips here. That's what he says about Pulse Chain being better.
Real quick, class, may I say something? Moondog in the chat, he's talking about Sui releasing a game console. It kind of just reminds me of Solana releasing a phone. So I don't know. It feels it's a little weird.
It feels tacky though. We're going to release a game now. It's like, oh, really? I don't know if I'm not sure that people are going to go for that. People don't like. There was a phase, like obviously there was an NFT phase, and there was like a GameFi phase, and maybe an AI phase, which never really came to fruition.
Hex should have a Tamagotchi that grows up until you unlock the stake. Then he's an adult.
Eating the Hex logo.
Yeah.
I don't know what phase like people are going to grab onto. We went for I think this cycle we went for the weird meme coin phase. Or it's not really weird. I suppose they're all animals with hats or penguin or whatever. At the moment I just love Hex on Pulse Chain, so I don't know. But got Fast Abdul here in the chat. So Morgan Stanley predicts no rate cuts until 2026 unless the economy tips into recession this year. Oh, that's sad. That's really sad.
Who knows if they're right? Like Trump's a wild card. If he fires the head of the SEC, then that would be who knows what could happen.
Oh, fast Abdul, you got all the knowledge here. FTX is set to distribute over $5 billion to creditors in a second phase of payment starting on May the 30th. $5 billion. Ooh.
Only $5 billion.
Ooh, I hope some
Fast
of that
Bill, do you follow the M2 money supply and like track that in the theory that when that peaks, that Bitcoin peaks 108 days after, like Colin T Crypto talks about it, Corey Gary talks about it a lot, because according to that theory, we peaked in April at 108 trillion, the M2 money supply. So that according to that theory, Bitcoin will top late June, early July.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that it has nothing to do with the rate cuts. That's what that thesis says.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's definitely other things at play.
That's really funny because I have a theory that this bull cycle will end by the end of August or the beginning of September.
Really?
Oh, really? Tell me
You're
more,
on the early side, Briz. Everybody else is like,
some...
a 5-year cycle, 2028. Like.
Well, that's why this would be such a trick. It's because everyone's expecting October, November, December, but if it ends in like the beginning of September or the end of August, it would totally trick everybody. And the only thing that makes me think that it might do that is because of the moon cycles. There's a lunar eclipse, I think September 20th, and from my prior research, it looks like the markets start tanking 2 weeks before a lunar eclipse. And if it's on the 20th, that means it's about the beginning of September.
Oh, wow.
So my only thing, and this will just be for us ladies here, is that if the market is raging in August, I would take some profits. Maybe not all your profits, but I would take some profits.
Yeah,
10% on any double.
We haven't even hit Zach rate yet. I ain't taking shit at the moment.
All right, let's do moon maths. Let's do it. Let's go around. I just feel like everyone wants it. And but first, before we do moon maths, let's just hear about this M2 money supply video that I got lined up here. Actually, Doza did it, and I just steal all his stuff. And then we'll look at the comments real quick, and then we'll do moon maths.
All of the governments around the world and the central banks are forcing the banks to buy debts. Basel IV is a reason behind that. The new changes to the SLR in the US. All of this is a way of forcing bonds and debt into the banking system and then forcing the banks to create more money using them as reserves. It's just another way of debasing the currency. So Global M2, when we look at it outright, it does the same pattern every time. These patterns repeat not out of voodoo. It's because it's driven by the debt refi cycle. The average maturity of global debt is 4 years. They're all between the 3 and 5 year sector. There's some long-term debt. Nobody can issue long-term debt because the market won't absorb it. So what we find is we're shorter term. Every time we do this, we have a breakout, a retest. So this was the 16-17 cycle. This is the equivalent one I think now. Breakout, retest, explodes higher, does this whole liquidity tightening. That's the bear market. That's when the economy slows down. That's when rates go up. Does the same thing. COVID gave it a false, a double shot. It did it again. We're doing exactly the same thing. It's almost a complete repeat of the 2017. So what we're seeing is global M2 at all-time highs. That should mean all-time highs for asset prices. That's how the world works. What we've also got here is global M2 against Bitcoin. So it's the same chart, but now we can see what happens to Bitcoin every time this happens. It breaks out, retest, and then Bitcoin starts hitting the next leg of the banana zone. Usually you start the banana zone a bit earlier with the breakout, you have the correction, and then it goes. And I've talked about this. There's 3 phases of the banana zone. Phase 1 was Q1 last year as we started to break out in all these measures, new all-time highs in liquidity. Bitcoin goes to all-time highs. We have the corrective period, which is the correction zone. And then we get the banana zone part 2, which is usually old season. This is the fabled chart that everybody in the world has copied from me, but this is the global M2 chart versus Bitcoin with a 12-week lead. It's been like voodoo. It is the most voodoo-like chart I've ever come across, and it works. Will it work entirely? Often what you find is later on, Bitcoin outperforms global M2 because of the speculative mania that builds over time as people realize what's going on.
So yeah, well done, Crypto Stylist, bringing in the M2. That's probably one of the, I'm not an expert on indicators, but like if I had to like cheat in a test and there's like one answer for like what's going to determine BTC top, it would be like its relationship to the M2. I think last cycle, like ETH and then Hex had a definite relationship to each other when it came to tops. It seemed to be 27 days later, but it was complicated by COVID. There was like a double top. So yeah, I'm interested to hear you guys what you think about how timing of the cycle, how it's going to play out. What do you think about the assets on Pulse Chain or eHex and Vibes? So Briz, do you want to say anything more about your time targets, or do you have any price targets? Obviously, this is just our own opinion. It's not financial advice. Do your own research.
This is 100% financial advice. Bitcoin's going to $250,000 minimum, and everything else will follow. I'm guessing a $18,000 Ethereum. I'm being conservative, all right? And who knows what Pulse Chain will do? We're gonna get at least a 1,000x. No freaking doubt about it. And
What's
I
your
don't think.
faves?
What was that?
Sorry, keep going.
And I don't think Richard would want anything less than a 10,000x. But we got a lot of savvy investors in Pulse Chain, and probably going to be a lot more profit taking, in my opinion. So we'll see how high we'll get.
See how it goes. Sammy,
I'm writing down your Nostradamus-esque.
I do too.
Mark
Sammy,
my words, Hot Girl.
I'm literally marking them.
I marked it
with a pencil.
I hope you're right, Breeze.
I hope I'm right.
Conservative to me. Yeah, you know, Grok is my guide, and she's been pretty correct about things. So I'm like trusting her now. But yes, we're going up about mid-year, seeing all-time highs, but towards the end of the year and possibly into the new year. You know, we're going to lag behind, of course. You know, we're going Ethereum and Bitcoin, everything goes via that. We're going to go up a little bit after that. And yeah, I think we're going to see, and as we've spoken about this before, Crypto Sellers and Clads, and I think April, you know, I think we're going to see something really unexpected from Richard. Like when Hex hit 1 cent, we were all like, holy shit, like we never thought it hit 1 cent, and then it just kept going up. It's like, you know, it was crazy. So I don't think we'll be disappointed. I think it's going to be really exciting, guys. But next,
a crypto stylist.
I agree with Sammy. I think that we'll peak somewhere towards the end of the year. So I think it'll go Bitcoin will top, and then all the blue chip institutional coins and Ethereum. And then, you know, I think then after that, the RH assets will top. I think it'll be the last. So everyone will be like, oh my God, it's over for RH. So stupid redneck Hexicans, they don't know anything.
And that's the time to accumulate.
And then all of a sudden it's just going to go like parabolic. And then, but I think there's going to be a moment where we're all going to start infighting again and talking shit to each other and, you know, fighting on Twitter and whatever, how we get that way when the price is down or when we're not doing what, you know, the rest of the market is doing. But I do think it'll be late, and I think it'll be pretty violent.
Nice. Fast.
Yeah. I think one of the important metrics that people aren't looking closely enough at is the Pulse Chain SAC wallet has 166,000 ETH in it, which is more than Coinbase by a fair bit.
Yep.
If Ethereum even goes to, let's say, 6,000, so if like BTC goes to 240K and Ethereum just follows along at the current ratio, and I think that ratio will change. I think it'll change in favor of Ethereum. But even at the current ratio, you'd have a $6,000 Ethereum, which means that SAC wallet would be worth $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's incredible.
That influences my decisions a little bit. No financial advice, but you know, if even a portion of that was deployed, let's say half, you'd have some X's on Pulse Chain, more than one.
I want to show
that's just the ETH wallet.
That's just the ETH wallet.
Yeah. Supposed hypothetical person could have lots of Bitcoin, SAC funds. Like there's a lot of capital beyond that ETH wallet.
Supposedly, I know a guy that had lots of Bitcoin before any of this happened anyway. He may still have said Bitcoin.
It's the actual numbers when it comes to the potential of Pulse Chain. The rest of the world doesn't know, or they choose because of their own bias not to hear or listen. But we do have objective evidence we're going to show you shortly. But the amount of money and wealth potential for Pulse Chain is absolutely mind-boggling. I can't even get my own head around the numbers. Like Richard Hart, I don't know how much ETH and BTC has. I probably don't want to know, but it's in the order of thousands and thousands. Like this guy, like if you think he's rich, like your brain just can't fathom with the maths how rich he actually is. And with the SAC funds, so I just want to show you guys. So the SAC funds for Pulse Chain, a lot of it went into Ethereum, and this website looks at that. So there was 171,000 ETH in the SAC wallet that went into Ethereum. At the time, Ethereum's price was 3,773. Current price of Ethereum is 2,500. So in dollar amounts, it's probably about 30% down because Ethereum's price performance, which is now picking up. But that's an incredible amount of money nonetheless, like $432 million. That's just in this tracker to do with the SAC funds. And the other website I want to quickly show before we go to, we're going to go to Hodpool and keep going around, is the Strategic ETH Reserve. This is the objective evidence to show people how much money potentially could go into Pulse Chain. So the Pulse Chain SAC funds, now this money was sacrificed, so it's not our money. It's not anybody's money because it was sacrificed for freedom of speech and movement. Nonetheless, it was sacrificed in the name of freedom of speech and movement, and it's the Pulse Chain SAC. Has more Ethereum than the US government, has more Ethereum than Coinbase, is second only to the Ethereum Foundation, which dumps their Ethereum. It has 166,000 Ethereum. I can't even get my head around that number. So
and remember, Ethereum was the second coin listed on Coinbase.
Mm-hmm. And this
Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Litecoin.
Yeah, Litecoin wasn't even second. That's crazy because back then, the Litecoin was its silver to its gold and everything.
Yep. This is a strategic ETH reserve.xyz. This is a website that is known across different chains in crypto, and it's objective evidence to show that, oh, you think we're Hexicans and we're annoying, and yes, we are Hexicans, and yes, we are annoying, but look how much money we potentially have.
Okay, guys, I have to hop off. It's so good
bye.
to see everybody.
Thank you so much for
Good to
coming.
see you. Bye.
Really appreciate you.
Bye.
Imagine how much more annoying we're gonna be if we get like a 10x even.
Absolutely.
Oh, I can't wait to be annoying on Twitter to every single company.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we're going to get so much more annoying as the price goes up. So Hodpool, just going around the room, we were talking about time targets, price targets, or even just what your thoughts are on
more like thoughts, because I don't really have a specific number target. I'd have to kind of figure it out and look at stuff, but I just predict volatility. And I do kind of agree with Crypto Stylist in that it might not happen as quickly as we think, because I almost feel like what we have is we're altcoins, but since we're so DeFi, we're kind of altcoin. Like there's like, it's not quite the third, but it's like 2.5 away from the initial Bitcoin movement. And maybe that's just my weird instinct feeling things out, but we're later than the altcoin. And a little correlated, but so many volatile things happen, and a lot of it's conjecture. A lot of the conjecture had to do with DAI for a while, but it was, an idea that it might peg to $1. Not everybody agreed. Whatever it is, I mean, a lot of people in our community are looking at the amount of funds in the SAC wallet as one idea, and also the SEC case is another, where like there's a potential for extreme volatility because the definition of crypto is about to change, and that's really, that movement has been on our shoulders and Richard Hart's shoulders. So I think you'd be insane not to at least have a little bit of Hex on Pulse Chain.
Absolutely. Like,
so volatile. That's my answer. I don't know.
Nice.
Up eventually. There's no way it's not going to, like, do you think it's never going to hit 10 cents again? Like, I don't think that's possible.
I agree.
Guys,
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I said absolutely. I was like talking to myself before the stream. I had like a self-talk, not to say it, because my last stream, I should count it, but it's like more than 20.
I like your absolutely's, Claus.
Oh, thanks. I just need another.
Absolutely love them.
Thank you. I just need like another describing word. Richard's in the room with us, guys. He's right in the middle there. I don't know if you can see him, but
Big
the
BP.
thumbnail.
I can see his big BP.
It looks like me. Looks like my bottom half.
I'll quickly give my predictions and then we'll say hi to
This
chat.
is big PP.
That's so funny. He's right here, guys. Richard's is he in the room with you right now? He is. And look where it's positioned.
Oh.
You can't see his head. You can only see the PP area.
That reminds me, I want a Red Bull after this.
Oh my God, I ran out of Red Bull and I am really fucking pissed about it. All right, so
Anyway.
the last couple of cycles, November the 10th was an interesting date. And for BTC to top, I based it on extrapolation data ages ago and I got it. It came out at like December the 1st, which is weird. But I think I'm still going to stick with probably like in my own head, November the 10th. But having said that, I've also been vibing with what you've been saying, Briz, about going earlier. And I think I'm going to start to sweat probably in September, October. I can imagine myself getting real sweaty around then. And then it becomes a game of like, holy hell, like how high can it go? And when is the music going to stop? And that's just the truth about crypto, right? So yeah, I think we've got an interesting end of year coming up. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to focus at work if the price explodes. Everyone will be like, how's crypto? And I'll have to just like not like practice my poker face or something. Yeah, it's going okay. And just like run away.
Well, that last pump we had, oh my God, there's excitement in the air. Everyone came on to X. It was like my whole house was like buzzing. It's going to be hard to contain ourselves, really.
This, imagine the God candle when the Interpol thing goes away. Like, seriously. People think that Hexicans are stupid. Hexicans are actually incredibly intelligent. We're a very varied community. We have different walks of life, different countries. But there are some people that are just hardcore cult people, maybe you would call it. There are some people that are into the maths. There are some people that are into decentralization, making their own protocols. Other people just vibing with the community. But we all share this common theme that we understand what Richard Hart's all about, and we understand the principles behind DeFi. And there's a shit load of money, and the potential is very high, is what I would say. Are we individually going to see that potential? Well, there's no guarantees in crypto, right? Like, you're either going to be like wealthy or you're going to be poor as hell. So there's no real in between.
Can I be candid, Claus?
Yes.
I'm finding myself I'm not emotionally affected by the price going up or down. I mean, I'm happy that other people are happy, right? Or
yeah,
not happy when they're not happy. I step away, but my idea of it is like I'm staked for so long, like with Hex, right? That I don't know. I feel like I have just such the idea that it'll eventually be way higher, that every step along the way, like, because I'm HOD Pro, right? I'm just holding. I'm not, perhaps you don't get as many funds when you don't juggle it at the right time. But I just, okay, yeah, it's still going down. It'll go back up. When it goes up, like, it'll correct, but it's on its way up. It's not a linear, but years from now, it's just going to go up. So I'm like,
yeah. It's a time frame thing, right? So people in the Hex community
Long-term.
can get super emotional if things don't work out in their time frame. So
Yeah,
this cycle,
true.
for example, price went down like all cryptos do. And a lot of people got emotional. A lot of people left because they didn't see success in the time frame that they wanted. But it's not up to the individual and what their time frame is, right? There's a lot of money potentially that could go into Pulse Chain, can be reshuffled and organized by the OA. And that entity, I don't know who runs it. I don't know who it is. It has nothing to do with me. I don't make decisions for it. We can just speculate. And staking in Hex has always been the fundamental narrative that you lock it up and it's like a blockchain certificate of deposit and you earn yield. And lately the yield has gone down because Richard tweaked the farms and so on and so forth, so that big players can't keep dumping and living off the yield so that the price can go up for the cycle. But that's a very short-term move. And the OA has staked an incredible amount of Hex and no expectations. And I don't control the OA. I have nothing to do with that. But if they were to emergency end stake along the way, who do you think would get rewarded? There's absolute shit ton of Hex stakes that the OA has locked up. And if they were to, for some reason, emergency end stake along the way, the stakers could end up being the ones that actually got rich. So I've always played a liquid game, pretty much. I've got a lot of stakes as well, but I realize the danger in that because I might be successful in my own timeframes, but that doesn't mean someone else will be more successful in a longer time frame.
I feel like the end game is Hex because if you're talking about the SAC address, and we don't know who runs it or what, but I mean, if it's a Richard Hart thing, all right, you make Hex because you want people to get paid for doing what they say they're going to do, which is why he wanted to start a blockchain certificate of deposit, right? So then Ethereum gas prices are astronomical. Then, okay, you have to fork Ethereum then and all the tokens just as a bonus. Fork that, and then you have the farms. Okay, you want a DeFi exchange, right? Because it's always up in the air with these exchange, decentralized exchanges and centralized. So it's good to have one, for our community. So then you have the incentive token, obviously, to incentivize movement there. But overall, it's a structure to contain Hex and to make Hex healthy, right? Specifically Hex on Pulse Chain. Everything else is a bonus. But that's the way I see it, is I pump Pulse Chain, I pump all these other tokens, and I have, but I really see the future, long-term future, being Hex on Pulse Chain. Heavy.
Yeah. I'm pretty much a Hex on Pulse Chain, Maxi.
If we're talking about the SAC address, right? Like the final form.
We're going to wrap things up real quick. So chat's been on fire because I've been coordinating the stream. I haven't really referred to them as much. So we're going to say a little bit of a hi to the chat. And I agree with you, Hodpril. Hex on Pulse Chain, I couldn't be more bullish. We've got a price target here from Christopher. Why can't we believe $10 Hex? We did a 10,000X. Why not do it again? I don't want to jinx myself is why I don't talk about price targets for Hex. If I was honest, like Hex on Pulse Chain is a different price chart to Hex on Ethereum. So the all-time high for Hex on Pulse Chain is like 3 cents. We're currently at like 0.8 of a cent. I hate giving endgame numbers because there's so much that could happen. There is a lot of sell pressure. I know Richard Hart did refer to the community in his last video, and he's right. There is a lot, but there's I think that's a very short term thing. Once the big green candles come, I think people are smart enough to not be selling into something that's going way higher. Does anyone want to throw out any Hex price predictions?
A 1 million X.
1 million X.
Eventually.
Well, like with the time frame, right? Like when it's Georgia.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm having issues, technical issues. But anyway, how is everybody doing?
Oh, so good to see
I'm taking a lot of notes. I've been listening to Riz.
I love it that you came to say hi to us. Thank you so much.
Hold on 1 second. There you go.
Oh,
awesome. I'm just say fast Abdul.
Oh,
good to see you, Georgia.
What are we wearing glasses fast? You look so cool. You're the coolest man, best dressed man of all, except for Richard.
I must say, like Fast Abdul, you do have like
small peepee,
cool,
big
like
balls.
outfit changes, like background changes. Thanks for being with us, Georgia. I can see you up in lights at the background. Your Lola.
My Lola, yes. Thank you so much, class. Thank you for inviting me. For inviting all the ladies. Always,
always.
You always do, and I'm. She's incredible. You are. I learned from you so much, ladies. I watch the stream all the time when I'm working.
I faster our honorary ladies. They don't mind.
You know what? Class changed the time on her stream, and I'm working during that time, and I onboarded everyone at work. So if they see me streaming during work hours, I get in so much trouble.
No, that's fair. That's
exactly
fair.
until like the number goes 10,000x or 1,000 at least in Pulse Chain. Like
Georgia, I have something to ask you because we're
Yes.
going to be streaming for another 6 minutes. So I want to ask you all the questions that I wanted to ask you. Right?
Go ahead. Don't ask any technicals. The guys know more than me, but any other questions regarding
this is
Richard and the community, I'll answer.
So Valentine's Day sort of was in February, but I didn't get a chance to have you on stream. And did you give out a little Valentine's message for Richard this year?
In private, I DM him, but I'm afraid, you know what? I'm a little bit heartbroken. Let me tell you something. SJ was going away too often.
Yeah.
And I'm still hurting about the shout out to SJ, but she deserves it. But I'm still like, Richard, come on. Come on.
Yeah, Richard, where's my shout out?
Anyway.
And Sammy and my honorary women, Bas, Abdul and Briz. Where is our shout out? Like, Richard, we're not self-pressure. Like, that really hurt my feels. Just a little bit.
I know. It did.
I still make jokes.
You know what? That's the thing. Really we didn't talk about that because it's like, having children. I don't give my daughter a shout out and don't give my son a shout out. If you have so many women, you don't give just one a shout out, even though she deserves it probably more than any one of us. But anyway.
I've been here since the beginning.
For the sci-vibe.
Witness me, Richard.
Sci-vibe, that's the thing.
I gotta give credit where it's due.
Yeah. So
I know, that's the thing.
If
it's
anyone
like
on this panel needs a shout out, oh God, it would be hard. Does anyone want to plead their case on why they deserve the shout out over others on the panel?
Because I've been here since the very beginning, and I've been loyal, and I didn't join the Tang Gang.
And up and to the right. And
okay, I want to tell you something, Briz. I want to tell you something.
Oh,
and
no,
everyone,
I don't mean to trigger you.
Listen, and everyone who has, some of us send postcards to people to reach people, and some of us go knock on other people's door. So I think we should work together as a community. I go for blockchain community, no matter what it is. I support all of you, even though, some of us are really good friends and don't agree in everything. And I support everything. I go out there promoting Richard Hart's work and everything he has done and his name. And I'm trying to tell people, you know what? Yes, I listen to you when they have something that they don't agree with me or with anyone, with other people that I follow. I respect that very much. But I think we need to go out there in the field and show people that we can communicate, that we can bring more eyes to Pulse Chain. We won't do that if we just stay in these little squares. We have to go out. And I'm really good about that.
Green candles.
Yes, I'm really, guys, I'm like a dog. I'm like a stray dog. Don't keep me here in a nice shape. Let me get out. I'm working with a lot of
about meetups. Georgia, we want to do more real in-person meetups.
Yes, Richard, I want to meet up with you in person. But anyway, what was that?
We're going to probably have a meetup in Australia, hopefully another one in Vegas, probably somewhere else in the world. I wouldn't mind going to Europe.
Or you can meet at a Korean barbecue like we did, right? Some of us met at a Korean barbecue. We had an incredible time.
Oh, I love barbecue.
I think we'll eventually all meet on the moon. The way things are going. Yeah.
So, Hodbro, you must be due for a shout out. Is there any? We're going to wrap it up in a couple of minutes, but Hodbro, any final thoughts? Why do you deserve the shout out?
Why do I deserve a shout out? I don't know. I'm just chilling for 15 years plus. The shout out for not making a scene and just dipping in and dipping out, but always being there, not dumping.
And she's gorgeous.
Don't need to shake any cages. Just
shout out to her
the darkness in the background.
She's adorable too, guys. She's adorable. Hot Pril, you are incredible.
I asked her to marry me once.
Supporter,
incredible.
Didn't happen.
Sorry, I'm
Fast
shouting
Abdul,
everyone.
why do you deserve the shout out?
Honestly, I do not require a shout out. I'm happy to operate in the background.
Everyone needs a little bit of a pat on the back sometimes. No?
I just want
been doing
I'm just here for the tech.
infrastructure. Sorry.
Oh, he's a builder. Shout out for the builder. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, these are our final thoughts. Fast Abdul, is there any other, or Hodpearl or Georgia, any other final thoughts before we ask Sammy why she deserves a shout out?
Go for it.
No?
Sammy is more important.
Sammy.
Go for it.
Look, who doesn't love a good shout out, right? But even in these recent times, when I look at my contribution to our community, a lot of it was being on the front line and being quite obnoxious. And, they were great times. When I really look at the whole big picture, I don't think I've really done anything significant. And a lot of people deserve it more than I do, to be honest. But having said that, if you want to share
reverse psychology shout out. I love it.
Shouting out Sammy right now. Sammy's awesome.
Yes.
What do you deserve a shout out, class?
I believe my shout out should be in the form of the hex.com diamond, and that would be a lovely shout out. Like, because obviously there's a lot at stake with the diamond. Like, he probably can't move it because of insurance purposes or hold it right now. So
you do like treasure. So
I like treasure.
Would you like him to etch your name into it?
Oh, maybe like, probably not. No, I just want it. Yeah, so I just want material things like diamonds. I really need shout outs. Briz, why do you deserve the shout out?
I already said it earlier. I was like the first one.
Oh, amazing. Guys, we got to tie this up because I got to go somewhere. But Georgia, Hodpearl, Fast Abdul, Sammy, Briz, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, chat. You guys are on fire. Sorry I ignored you. Lots of love.
Thanks for having us.
Shout out to everyone on the chat supporting. Shout out to everyone on X. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to Richard Hart. Shout out to
Richard. Shout out to Richo.
Shout out
Thank
to
you,
Richard.
Richard.
Shout out to